He was a talent, but an obscure talent. When he plunged into late-night television last year, he replaced David Letterman. He's a former comedy writer for Saturday Night Live and The Simpsons, and he's NBC's tallest man in late-night TV, Conan O'Brien. Conan, welcome to the show.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
I was supposed to be on your show about 6 months ago.
You were going to be the musical guest.
I was the musical guest. Actually, I was going to dance. And I was on my way to the studio, and I'd rehearsed all the way over in the car, this dance.
We were all waiting to see this incredible dance.
I was prepared. I'd rehearsed it in the car, and I couldn't wait to get there, and they canceled me at the last minute, so I never did get to do your show. Actually, I told a joke about the White House on the Ailes radio program.
Oh, my God.
And McClarty and Stephanopoulos called Bob Wright and demanded that I be fired immediately. So I voluntarily, they have a voluntary thing that you can do. You can go in and give up your freedom of speech if you like your job.
In a voluntary way.
In a voluntary way.
I'm familiar with that.
Yes. And did anybody ever edit your show or say, look, you just can't say that on the air?
Well, there are obvious things that you can't do. There have been a few occasions where we've had stand-up comics on the show who maybe threw in some stuff that wasn't a bad taste appropriate.
Bad taste is even worse than...
Right. No, the most editing we had was to correct my hair, which in the early episodes of the show was way out of control.
It was. I noticed that. And already being 6'4", the hair being another 3 or 4 inches was starting to irritate.
Well, it was a zoning problem, actually, in Manhattan. But we calmed it down. We've got it now. This is more appropriate, I think, for television.
I like this haircut. It's
Thank
good.
you.
Now, I want to read some things, and then I'm going to make a judgment about it. You're 31 years old?
That's right.
Okay. You're 6'4"?
6'4".
Okay, born in Brookline, Mass?
That's right, the birthplace of John F. Kennedy.
And, wait a minute, and Michael Dukakis.
That's right.
And he's still there mowing his yard, as I recall. Am I right?
Dukakis' family does not live that far away from where my family lives.
Okay, you're one of 6 children.
Yes, middle child, starved for attention, never got the love he felt he needed, and using this show to cry out for help.
Okay, and are you feeling love now that you have this television?
More love now, yes,
more love
than I was before, but it's never enough. That's why the constant push for more and more love. That's why I came here. I taped the show today. I taped the show already, but I said I need more love.
Actually, we found him at the toll booth on the bridge, asking people to love him.
That's
and we brought him in here.
Thank you for that. You gave me some hot coffee.
Yeah, we brought you in.
I feel better.
Your mother was a lawyer and your dad was a physician.
Yes.
Oh, he was also a professor. I was going to say your mother was a liberal and your dad was a conservative because he was a physician, but then I saw professors, so they were both liberal.
That's, yes.
You can't live in Brookline unless you're
You're right. They are, yes, I would say my parents are, if you had to use a blanket, ugly term like liberal versus conservative.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, there's some wonderful liberals. We have some wonderful liberals here. And
I thought you would chase them all out.
No, they're here as liberals, but every week when they get their paycheck and see how much is gone somewhere that they can't put their finger on, they get a little more conservative.
A little more conservative.
That's right.
Isn't that what happened to Ronald Reagan, apparently?
Absolutely.
He looked at I heard that he looked at his paycheck in like 1951 or 1952.
Wanted to know where his money went.
And said, where'd my money go? I've got to become the president and solve everything. And God love him, he did.
All right, you graduated from Harvard University because your parents wanted you to go there.
Not true.
Not true?
No.
Okay.
They wanted me to pursue my talents as a singer, and I said no.
Can you sing?
No.
Oh, well, no wonder.
They stopped me. Well, I think I can. That's the thing. But yeah, no, I graduated in 1985.
You were the editor of the Harvard Lampoon, which is quite an honor. Because you have to have a funny mind, and also you have to...
I pulled a lot of strings.
Oh, I was going to say...
It was a dirty campaign.
The other guys want to find some poor schmuck that'll do the work.
Exactly.
Am I right?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it worked, and I hired a real good leg breaker, and I got myself in.
Are there good comics coming along? Because we search all the time. We do breaks here. We look at comics. There's a lot of bad comics out there. I mean, really
I got news for you.
Yeah.
There have always been a lot of bad comics.
Yeah, there are a lot of bad ones. What percentage are really good and would have a career in show business?
Science shows that it's 7%. That's the number we've come up with.
That is.
Yeah, which is a lot better than the usual. 4%.
That's higher than I would have thought.
It was 4% during the Reagan administration.
Well, that's because
during the Bush administration, it got down to about 4, and now we're up to 8.
Well, Dana Carvey was the only guy working during the Bush administration. Was the only guy who could capture that push his moves.
He actually got invited to the White House.
Oh, I know.
And he got to sleep in the Lincoln bedroom.
Yeah, I was in the bed that night. As a matter of fact, it was
I know. He told me. I wasn't going to bring that up.
It sort of irritated me, to be honest with you, because George invited a whole bunch of us down, and then we had to share the bed. It was kind of like, you know, sort of low man's night.
All 5 of you in a row.
Yeah, we all had to sort of in a row in there.
I wasn't going to mention it. I'm glad you did.
It was not pleasant.
We're getting to a lot of truths here.
Of this, and I'm getting some of my hostility out. Conan, you wanted to be a performer, or didn't you? You were a writer.
Yeah,
most writers can't make that move. You were a performer.
Well, no, actually, a lot of writers, many actual comedy people initially start out as writers. Now,
but most writers can't make the switch.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of them don't want to. They just prefer writing. That's why they become writers. The whole time that I was working as a writer in Hollywood, after I graduated from college, I was also performing. I was doing stage work, improvisational work with the Groundlings Theater. I did a stage show in Chicago. I did a lot of industrials. I went out for different commercial work and things like that.
How did they cast you as kind of the innocent, tall, naive?
I remember once I actually auditioned. Someone saw me perform somewhere, and I got a call. And they said, hello, we're from the Henson Company. We're doing a sitcom, and you are perfect for one of our characters, Bud. And I was very flattered. Wow, this is terrific. We're going to do this new sitcom. You're perfect for Bud. And I said, this is great. And I said, why don't you, and they said to me, we'll describe who Bud is. And the first person they read to me was, he's tall, he's good-looking, piercing eyes, exudes sensuality. And I said, wow, that's terrific. And then the woman on the phone actually said, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, that's not Bud. That's Dirk. She said, hold on a second, let me see. Oh, wait, here's Bud. At 6'4", what he lacks in weight, he also lacks in intelligence. This gangly, goofy idiot, and went on to describe this nerdy character. But anyway, I needed the work, so I showed up for the audition, and I didn't get it, which is a real godsend for me, probably, because I would have been branded as the idiot Bud. You
know, I don't know whether you know that I actually produced an off-Broadway improvisational show in this town.
Is that so?
This is 10, 12 years ago, so I know a little bit about improvisation. A lot of the best performers come out of improvisation, Second City in Chicago and
well, what's good about improvisation, I mean, there are really, I think, 2 schools of comedy that you can come from. There's stand-up, and obviously many people that do what I do come from the world of stand-up, where you work out your routines over years, and that has a lot of its advantages. And then there's improvisation. And I think what's great about improvisation is that it teaches you really to think on your feet. A lot of improvisation is making up scenes as you go along. I listen to you. I go with what you say. It's a lot of training in just going with the moment.
Listening and going with it.
Exactly.
And the trick to really doing it well is not to try to pay it off, but to actually stay in the conversation.
Right, exactly.
A lot of comics try to reach for the payoff quick.
Well, the key to improv is don't try to make it go in one direction too hard. And because that can... If I think that it's funny to make a joke about your tie,
you're jealous of
which I wouldn't do. I'm very jealous of that tie.
I can tell. Come in close. He's jealous. I know this has been bothering him.
I've been eyeing that tie for a long time.
He has. He came in tonight. He looked in the green room. He said, "I want to get that tie."
This is like QVC. This tie is now available for $19.99. Phone in now.
Not $19. I got this from Barry Diller personally.
Yeah, it's $19. He didn't tell you.
But Johnston and Murphy. That's
really?
A gift.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know who they are.
I've never bought a tie in my life. I make all my ties.
And it shows.
Thank you.
I thought you got them off a table somewhere, just sort of, you know, they're kind of mixed in with the shoes.
Maybe, yeah. I get them from a bin, a factory reject bin. But my point is, if I wanted to make a joke about your tie, and I spent the whole conversation trying to steer it towards a payoff for a joke, I wouldn't really be listening to you. I'd be spending the whole time going, yeah, how can I pay off this tie thing? And I think improvisation has actually helped me a lot on the show. I think the best interviews that I have on my show are ones where we find funny things that we never would have been able to prepare for.
You were trashed pretty well by critics when you first started. I want to show a clip. Do we have the Letterman clip? Because he got a lot of bad press in the beginning, and most people when they start shows get some bad press because critics all wish they had that job.
Right.
And they can't. They're all sitting at home with their pornography collections, you know, and occasionally they turn on... No, they are. And they're sitting there saying, you know, I guess I'll try to watch TV tonight. And then they tune in and say, you know, I could do better than that guy does. Let's take a look at that clip. Do we have time? No? We don't have time. We'll do it in the next. We're going to show you
What
that
kind of show is this? You don't have time.
We don't have time. We're
I'm out of here.
Well, no, we have choice here. We have a choice of your clip or a commercial. We're taking the commercial.
All right.
Okay.
I was going to pay you for the clip. But...
Okay. We're going to show the clip when we come back, and also you can call us if you'd like us to do an improv. Just call up, tell us who we are, and we'll do one with you. All right. We'll be back right after these messages.
It's something I've wanted to do all my life. I'm ecstatic.
And like right here tonight is like your first time on TV.
Well,
and you know,
yeah.
Dave Letterman is a legend here at NBC, and if there's anything that's fun to do, it's replacing legends at NBC. I know.
Okay, now here's just one of the things that they said. He said he was nervous, fumbled punchlines, and uncomfortable as an interviewer. I don't think this is the first night or second night they gave you this crap, right? Well, anyway, some other terrible reviews. But let me show you.
No, let's please read through all of them.
You know, I want to read them all. Actually, if you'd like to get a copy of Conan's bad reviews,
you got to get the good ones too. I got a lot of good ones. I got a lot of good ones.
There are actually. We could do this as a newsletter. You could send in. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. But let's show you what David Letterman said. Now, do they have that clip? Leroy, heads up here. Got it? Yeah. Okay, man. Leroy's great, man.
I like Leroy.
I know. When Leroy says we got it, we got it.
Leroy's
when
a good man.
says, and when Leroy says we don't have it, I go to commercial. Okay, take a look at this clip.
I would watch it, and the truth of it is, when I first started watching your show, it always kind of made me wince a little bit because I thought, well, I don't know, you know, it's not really me, it's not my show. But the more I watched the show, I realized you guys do an incredible amount of comedy and stuff that is produced that is very high level. And the volume and the quality of the stuff just knocks me out. And I think you've really done a great job to carve out a wonderful identity for yourselves. And there's nothing like this show anywhere on television.
That's nice.
Let's show that again.
Did that cost you much, or was that
$40,000?
$40,000.
Yeah, and in Krugerrands, which is expensive. It's hard to get that Swiss gold. No, that was he came on the show. That's actually about a year ago, and was very complimentary. And he's always been very good to me and to my people. He's invited me on his show a couple of months ago, and was very gracious and gave me 2 segments, which was very nice. So yeah, I'm indebted to him.
Do you like being a celebrity? I heard you got accosted coming out of NBC tonight. I mean, do people walk up to you and jump on you and say, "Hey, Conan"?
That happened. I'm just glad to get the attention.
Really?
I was. You know, now I start to get some of the crazy people, some of the people that say, "I've talked to you through the TV set, and I've had a conversation with you," and that takes a little getting used to.
Yeah.
In fairness, I have had conversations with them through the TV set, so I can't blame them completely. It's a little sick thing I do, but I have. That's something you have to adjust to somewhat. But I love what I do so much that you excuse those things. I mean, I think anyone watching, if I complained about any aspect of my job, I would fully expect people watching at home to say, "What a jerk!" You know, he's getting to do what he always wanted to do, and why bitch about some of the little problems that come along the way.
We've got a call here. Danny from Michigan. Danny, you're on the line with Conan O'Brien.
Hello.
Hello.
Danny,
hello, Conan.
how are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm good.
I watch your show every single night.
Thank you.
I think you're fantastic. I'm not a big fan of like late night show viewing unless I'm coming off some kind of binge or something.
Me too. Yeah. I know the feeling. Well, thanks a lot for calling.
Your style and everything, Conan, I think you're extremely original. I think you are really a breath of fresh air for late-night TV.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I was told to ask a short question, so here's my short question.
All right.
Conan, how does it feel to be, I mean, your appearance, you look like basically everyone's neighbor, okay? And
yes. I moved around a lot in the 80s, which helps create that impression. I actually was your neighbor for a while. Turn the stereo down.
I'll tell you, basically my question, Conan, is this. I mean, how are you, I guess you may have answered this before, but how are you really enjoying your success? Because a lot of people, as this gentleman that's there with you had mentioned that a lot of people kind of started shooting you down before you started and didn't give you a fair shake. But obviously you're kind of like blowing everybody away just with your originality and just being
well, thank you. Yeah, well, I enjoy what I do very much. And one of the things that people don't realize is that to do a show like the one I do, or really any show 5 nights a week, especially where we mount as much produced comedy as we do on my show, is so much work that I really don't spend that much time not working. So I don't have a lot of time to go and hang out with Anthony Quinn or Madonna and drive around in limos.
And they bug him all that they call
They're calling. I just don't have the time. And I tell Madonna, I've told her like 5 times, leave me alone, I need my space. But there isn't, you know, doing the show itself takes a lot of time. And so other than that, my life has stayed remarkably the same. I mean, I have the same friends I had before, and the real only difference is when I walk down the street, people know who I am. But I like that because they're usually very friendly and supportive, and I like to talk to them, and I've always been able to talk anyone's ear off. So it hasn't, that aspect of my life has not changed that much.
Okay, let's take another call. Jay, here in New York.
Yeah, hi, how you doing?
Jay.
How you doing, Jay?
Hey, how's it going? Listen,
good.
I was just wondering, I love your show, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Great job, man. I love your honesty and everything, and some of the bits you guys come out with is just hysterical.
Oh, great.
But really original, man. But I was just wondering about Andy.
Yeah?
What's the story with him? Where did he come from?
Andy, well, there's actually a big story on Andy in People magazine this week. If you get the People magazine with Jeffrey Dahmer on the cover, it'll tell you all, which is appropriate, it'll tell you all I Andy Richter.
Andy's your sidekick.
Andy Richter is my sidekick. He's a guy who, most people think that we've been friends for years, but actually I met Andy when I was looking for people to be involved in the show, and when I first met him, I didn't exactly know what part he would take in the show. I didn't even know if I was going to have a sidekick, but he was funny and different, and I thought, you know, this guy is going to be useful somehow, and that's pretty much how we met.
Okay, we'll take your calls. What's the number? 1-800, that's the easy part. 988-TALK. Give us a call. Conan O'Brien's here. Stay with us. How long did it take you to get comfortable out there really doing a talk show?
It takes, with the help of a powerful horse steroid, it took a few, I mean, there were certainly, for the most part, I felt pretty good, but there were obviously moments that were just so new to me, and it is not a real conversation. It is a, you know, at first, it's trying to look very natural and be very natural and comfortable in a very unnatural situation. You got cameras, you got an audience. I would say it was a couple of months into it, at least, before I felt like I completely know what I'm doing out here. And now I'm more comfortable doing the hour of TV a night than I am in my private life, where I'm a neurotic mess.
Yeah, people.
Glad to see you enjoy that.
Yeah, people have told me that when you come over for a party, you're a real downer. But
oh yeah,
on the
big
air,
downer.
You're up and
sure.
You know.
Yeah.
And when you get criticism, as you invariably do, is there a tendency to overreact to it and try to do what the critics say and say, "Gee, they want me to be"?
Well,
more
I tried.
I
tried very hard early on to take into consideration that I was going to get a lot of criticism just because I was replacing David Letterman.
Right.
Now, I'll be the first to admit my show today is 50 times better than it was a year ago, and it's going to continue to grow. It's better than it was. There were certainly flaws early on. There were certainly things that I did that weren't moments when it wasn't professional, moments when it wasn't quite right. But I took into account that I'm replacing David Letterman, so I'm going to get a lot of flack, which is just because I'm replacing this legend, this guy who obviously is a genius and who has created this time slot and really created an unparalleled show at 12:30 on NBC. So I'm going to get criticism anyway, and if I overreact to it, I'm going to completely lose my way. So I tried very hard to say, listen, I have a pretty good idea of the kind of show I want to do. I have a pretty good idea of where I want to take it. I'm going to take some flack early on. I should listen to it. You know good criticism when you hear it. You know, if someone tells me something that strikes true, well, you shouldn't do comedy that interrupts interviews because it's uncomfortable. You know, comedy sketches that actually interfere with the interview. That sounded right to me. And I said, you know, that's absolutely right. I think that's true. And you know when you're hearing criticism that's just noise. And you just have to decide for yourself.
Being a celebrity is like being a politician in a sense. Half the people tell you you're doing something wrong and half the people are sucking up to you.
Yeah.
How do you decide, you know, which of the sucking up to take. And I talked to Charles Grodin about it.
I surround myself with sucker up people.
Well, that's the way to do it, and never have people with real criticism, because it can be very irritating.
Yeah, exactly, right.
I do that, you know. We have a call from Marlene. Where? Michigan. Marlene.
Yes, I'm
Marlene.
here.
Heads
How
up.
you doing?
You only have a short time here, Marlene.
Okay.
Go ahead. No, you can go ahead.
Okay, did you want some
That's
improv,
it. Time's up.
idea?
What?
Did you want an improv idea?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Give us an improv idea.
Okay, how about if you're a couple of truck drivers and you stop at a truck stop, but they only serve gourmet food?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's actually a good one.
Very good.
What do you do for a living, Marlene?
Well, that's a good question. I'm a supervisor at a law firm during the day, and I know I used to be into comedy, doing stand-up comedy.
All right, well, you give us the menu. You're the waitress.
Oh, I'm the waitress?
Should we be wearing
Throw us hats,
caps?
guys. We got to have ball
We need
caps in here.
caps for this, and we need...
I have a hairnet on.
Okay, you've got a hairnet on.
Right.
Anything else?
Well, use your imagination.
So we start out by saying we just want 2 chicken fried steaks, well done, and then you inform us that no...
I just want a cheeseburger. What do you got?
Well, we have baked Alaska today on the menu.
What the hell is that?
Low fat?
Low-fat baked Alaska.
Right.
No, I want real fat.
You want real fat? Well,
We just want a big plate of fat in the middle of the table. We want it fried up. We want some fat in here right now. We got a 9-hour drive into Yuma. We don't have time for this.
We have the food with us. Just bring us some hot fat.
We want a big
good.
plate of hot fat and 2 straws. Now get it. Where's Enid? Why isn't Enid here tonight?
She's
Honey,
here,
what are you doing? What time do you get off?
Enid is so fat she couldn't make it through the door.
I like the cut of your jib, woman.
I like your hairnet.
Thanks. I like yours.
All right. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you very much. I think we should develop this as a sitcom. The 2 of us, I'm serious, I have connections in the world of entertainment. The 2 of us, we're truck drivers. Certainly, you know, I'm the younger, goofier truck driver.
That is true. You're actually a good-looking guy. You know, I hadn't met you until tonight. I saw you on TV. Give me a real close-up of this guy, because you know, there is this. He does have this kind of goofy look, but the fact is, he's a really handsome. Give me a profile now. Give me a look over here. Now look at that profile. That's a really attractive profile for a guy who's kind of goofy.
I'll be frank with you, Roger. I've had a lot of work done. I'm serious. This is not my jaw. This is not my butt.
Isn't it? I wondered about that when you came in. I saw you from behind. That is, I think they put that on crooked.
Yeah,
they did.
They did. You know, it's a quickie job. I went in and I did a cut rate.
Yeah, well, the nose is straight, but the rear end is crooked.
I've had the nose broken. Actually, that's true.
Seriously?
The nose I had, I was beaten up once in Boston.
No, come on. Now,
seriously.
This is a joke?
No, this is serious.
Why did they beat you up? You're 6 foot.
I was asked for, well, it was 5 guys. It doesn't help to be 6'4" when there are 5 guys, and they demanded money, and like a jerk, I thought I should tell them to get lost, and then they
beat you up.
They beat me up, and they smashed this nose. Smashed it.
Kidding?
Yeah.
When you were in college?
Yeah, I was a freshman in college.
Jeez,
and
it didn't make you a hostile person?
No, I turned it all into love, which is what I want people watching right now to do with any hatred they have. You're
not the same guy like Charles Bronson, who goes out at night hunting for these 5 guys or anything. I mean, you don't hate
I've asked Charles Bronson to find them. I've encouraged him to track these people down. The guy's like, I'll do it later. You know, he just got a widescreen TV, and he spends a lot of time doing that now.
Okay, we're going to the great state of Arizona. Andrew, you're on the line.
Hello, Conan.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, it's a great pleasure to have a chance to talk to you.
Oh, it's nice to talk to you.
I have to tell you, your show is without a doubt, I think, the funniest and best hour on television.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
I really mean that. But I do have a couple of observations and comments, I guess. Number one, I haven't seen too much of Richard Black, the scary art poet, lately, and I was wondering if he'd make a return.
You know, we should get him back on. We haven't had him on recently. Richard Black was a comedian who came on the show and pretended to be a very dark bohemian poet, and he would do these very dark poems into camera, and then he would come back, and I would interview him, and he would end up haranguing me so much that he chased me out of the studio. And it was a running bit we did on the show. Yeah, we should try and do more of that.
It was absolutely classic. And the other thing is, I hope this is not a criticism that ends up being noise or anything, like you were saying earlier, but you have this tendency sometimes to lick your lips a lot during the show. And
that's because they're coated with a sweet coconut oil. That actually sustains me. I get a sugar high. When I feel it's starting to dip, I lick my lips. But I'll look into that. I do. I've actually heard that from other people, and it's hard to know sometimes because some of the idiosyncrasies that you have, sorry, I'm doing it again. No, some of the idiosyncrasies you have should be eliminated, and some of them end up being things that people end up knowing you for. And so that's probably one that I should, you know, get rid of, because it probably gives a subliminal message to America that I'm really hungry. And that's probably
Well, I think when you said the chicken fried steak, that's when it started tonight. So,
I noticed it started with you.
Yeah, I mean, I was going for that chicken fried steak. What kind of a little kid were you? When did you get tall? Were you little ever? Or were you 6'4" when you were born? I mean,
about 2 years ago, I had a growth spurt. I was 5'5" up until then. I was an average kid, and I was a late bloomer. Sometime in my sophomore year, I think, in high school, my legs started to grow. Not my torso, my legs. And my legs shot up to be incredibly long, and I looked ridiculous. I was an incredible freak. I had the legs of like a 6'8" 8" guy, and I had the torso of a tiny man. And I tottered a lot when I walked.
Boy.
And it was really frightening, very scary part of my life. But then my torso caught up. But it all happened pretty late, sophomore year in high school.
Can you, like the rest of us, just sort of call mattress and get them to get you a bed that fits, or do your feet just invariably hang over wherever you end up at night?
I get the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers involved. Yeah, I've used federal tax money.
I've always wondered. I mean, Abe Lincoln, in those days, if you look at the beds, and he was like 6'4", right, Abe Lincoln?
Abraham Lincoln, I'm a Lincoln on O-file.
Oh, file, yes. Okay, was he 6'4"?
He was exactly 6 feet 4 inches tall. And so I like to think that he and I are cosmically linked somehow, and that I will unify our warring states.
Now, I slept in the Lincoln bedroom.
You've mentioned that twice now.
No, you mentioned it, but I slept in it with Dana Carvey. And my feet went over the end. So Abe must have gone over like at the knees.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Yeah, he was a lot of people think that he was so melancholy and withdrawn because he just wasn't sleeping at night. If he had had a good mattress, he'd have been the most chipper guy throughout the Civil War.
I think so.
Hey, everybody, how you doing? Yeah, we lost Bull
like
Run,
Reagan
but who cares?
Just, you know,
right.
Smiling.
That's right. Reagan slept well. He got a good 15 hours every night, and that was the key to his happiness and success. Lincoln didn't have a good mattress. I've done the research. Historians will back me up on this.
Now, do you really know anything about Abe Lincoln?
Yes, I do. I know a great deal about Abe Lincoln.
Okay. Why was he depressed?
Well, there are many people have different theories. This is now going to turn into a very
this
different...
is serious.
Okay.
No, I'm interested in this.
No, well, first of all, I mean...
I'm a Civil War buff, so I know a little bit
Why do you think Lincoln was depressed? Lincoln was, first of all, he had a lifetime history of being depressed. He was so depressed he called it the hypo, I think, was his nickname for it. He would get so depressed often in his younger years that he would take to his bed and not leave for days at a time. But then look at when he was president. You know, he was in a worse situation than Bill Clinton is in right now. No, we don't. I have lots of history.
No, we were going to do Lincoln. I'm sorry, I looked up. We were going to start, and we were just up to about 1860. We were going to do.
I was going to take us year through year. I was going to explain the whole thing.
Conan.
Okay.
Pleasure.
Nice meeting you.
Please come back.
I'd love to do that.
Real pleasure working with you. Okay, and now coming up, the force behind the award-winning new film Federal Hill. New York Times reviewed it this week. It was shot for $80,000 and is making a lot of bucks. The director will be here right after these messages.